Hey, good morning, everyone. If you're watching this, it's probably Wednesday morning or Thursday morning, depending on what class you're in. I'm going to show you what you're going to do for today. It shouldn't take you very long. It should be relatively simple. But I'm going to walk through it on my computer. I'm going to show you my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. All right, so first of all, let me present now. Boom. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen. So the first two things you're going to do is in IXL. It will take you between 5 and 10 minutes. Okay. So what you're going to need to do is if you go up to the top, your screen will look a little bit different than mine because mine's obviously a teacher account. Over here is recommendations, right? You're going to find the thing that says recommendations, and it's going to have two things. Well, it'll probably list more than that for you, but you're going to be looking for this for L3 and L4. Okay. L3 is going to be a recap of what we did for last class. L4 is going to be what I'm going to have you do today. It's going to be very simple overall. The vast majority of times you're literally going to do one of two things, but I'm going to show you where to find information if you have a situation that's a little different. Okay, so I'm going to show you L3 first, right? So before I do that, it's going to be the same thing as before. So what you're going to do is you're going to go until you get to 10 minutes, right? You'll be able to see the elapsed time. If you are able to get to 100%, once, then you only have to do 5 minutes. Okay. So if you were going through and you get to 100% and you've done 5 minutes, awesome, you can stop. If you get to 100% and you've done 3 minutes, just do two more, just to kind of really make sure you have it in your head. If you don't get to 100%, just do as well as you can in 10 minutes. Okay. And then you can stop. And then you would go on to L4. Okay. But I'm going to show you L3 first. So it's recognize the parts of a works cited entry. Now there is another one for MLA 7th edition, which is like L1. Make sure you're in MLA 8th. Okay. So up here, it'll say select the blank in the works cited entry, and then it'll give you this, you have all these different options, right? So now it's asking for the publisher. All right, so this one is going to be here, right? Because this is going to be the author, this is going to be the title of the book, this is the publisher, and this is the date that it's published. So I just click on there, I click submit, right? Most of these are going to be really easy. In this case, select the newspaper name, not the author, it's not the article title, right? This is the URL. It's got to be this right here, the Washington Post, right? I click submit. Also notice, like what I was telling you before, the Washington Post here is italicized, right? It's if you have an article title, it's whatever comes after the part in quotations, and then in between that and the comma right there, right? So I'm going to click submit. Boom, I'm good. Select the page numbers. Most of the time, you're just going to cite the whole book, right, or the whole article. Sometimes you might just cite a little selection. In this case, this is how you do it, right? PP and then period and then space 54 through 57. So this would be the page numbers. For this, all I do is just click on it and submit. Like I said, this should be very simple. You should be able to go through most of this. If you make a mistake, I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. All right. The author's last name, right? It should be this. I'm going to click on this. If I click submit, it's going to tell me it's incorrect. It's going to give me the correct answer. And if you mess up, right, we all make mistakes. Don't worry about it. But take a look here, and it'll tell you why it's wrong. It'll tell you exactly what you're looking for. All right. And then when you're ready, you click got it, and you go to the next one. All right. And this is one we didn't talk about. But if you look at it and you take a second, this should be pretty easy to figure out. So the volume number and issue number. So that's not the name, right? The author. It's not the title. It's not the book that it's in. We get here to VOL volume NO number, right? So that's it. I click submit. That's good. The only thing that can be a little tricky sometimes is make sure you're clicking the exact right thing. Sometimes it'll say like here, it's like access on, and then over here is the date, right? So if I'm looking for the date of access, and if I'm just like going quickly and I click on this, it's going to be wrong. I need to click on this and I hit submit. Okay. So again, over here, you want to get to 100 if possible, right? If you don't get to 100, go until you get to 10 minutes. If you do get to 100, just make sure you've done 5 minutes. I just want you to get a handle on doing some of this. It'll be a little repetitive at that point, but just a couple more. Okay. So when you're done, you're done. You can X out of that. You're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that page before, and I'm going to show you number 4. So this is in-text citations. This one's a little different. I took a run through it before, and it's not that bad. It's actually only going to ask you a couple things. It's not going to ask you one of the things I want you to do, which is what I'm going to have you do on your paper. All right. So if you click on, or if you click on this in your recommendations, it'll bring it up. So now we have. Here's how it's set up. It's set up the same way for all of them. So take a second, get used to it. So it'll have the source, right? All the information for the source. Now it's going to give you a lot more information than you actually need, okay? Down here, it's going to have the actual quote that they're using. Almost every time, if not all the time that I've seen before, they are going to paraphrase up here, meaning they're not going to literally quote it. They're just going to summarize what happens, okay? So instead of clicking on something like before, you're going to have to actually type, okay? Now, here's what I'm going to do. I need to have the author's last name and the page number, right? If that's possible, that's going to be my citation every single time. The author's last name and the page number. That's it, every single time. All right, I'm going to do parentheses. I'm going to type in the author's last name. Now, obviously, this is a difficult name, right? So I'm going to take a second, make sure I'm looking there. Then I'm going to do a space and then the page number, and that's it. All right, no PG, no P, no P period, no PG period, no comma, no colon, no semicolon, just a space. That's literally all I do. The one thing to keep in mind is that the end punctuation of the sentence is going to come after the parentheses. It's going to come after the in-text citation. The way that I found easiest to understand this is that if you are doing a sentence that needs a citation, you can't end the sentence before you do the citation, right? Because it's going to be wrong. It's going to be technically plagiarism, right? You don't want that. So what you want is you want to make sure that you save the end punctuation of the sentence for after this, okay? So then I'm going to click submit, and it's going to say I'm right. Let's do another one, right? I wanted to get to one thing before we did it. Okay. So I'm looking here. The thing I'm looking for is to see if they list the author already. If that's the case, all we need is the page number. They don't have it, right? So I'm going to do space, open parentheses, Sagan, and then space and 3, right? They're going to give me a lot of extra information over here. I don't need most of this. I need the author's last name. I need the page number. That's it. All right, there are a little bit of exceptions. I'm going to show you those. You're not going to have to do that most of the time. Most of your sources that you've done, you're not going to need it, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. All right, so I click submit. Okay, same thing here. I'm hoping I will get to one soon where it will have the author's name up here. If not, I'll just reiterate it again. Biography, nope, I'm looking for. Now, if I didn't know the page number, I can't put it. So I would just put the author's name. Okay, so yeah, that's important. That'll be important in just a second. Brown, nope, Brown's not in there. I'm going to do one more. I don't want to take forever with this. And if it doesn't come up, then I'll just talk you through it. Okay, so the name of the author is Mary Roach, right? So let's say if it said here, according to Roach, or as Mary Roach writes in her book, Packing for Mars, right? In that case, then all I would do is just put in the page number, all right? Because I was going through this before, and some of these it's going to ask you for that, all right? So if the author's name is in this, then you're good, all right? Then you don't have to put the author's name. There's a couple other things that are a little tricky that it will ask you that I figured out before. One is, let's say if it ends in an exclamation point, okay? Anything other than a period, right? Question mark, etc. Then what I do is I put in the name and the page number after that, and then I finish with a period. Okay. If the period is over here, normally, if it normally ends with a sentence, I wouldn't have this. Or sorry, if the sentence normally ends with the period, I don't need this, or I don't need this second one. I would just take away the exclamation point and leave that there. All right. So basically, at the end of every one of these, you're going to have close parentheses, period. Okay. Now, the other one that I saw is sometimes they'll have like a multiple sentence thing up here. Like they'll have one sentence that's the quote, and then it'll continue on to another sentence, right? And so for that one, you would put the in-text citation as close to it as you can, right? So you would put it after the first sentence, and then there would be nothing after the second sentence, okay? Most of these aren't going to have anything like that, but once you start getting a little further, you'll see that. Okay, same thing with this, right? For this assignment, you're going to do until you get to 10 minutes. If you get to 100, smart score and you've gotten to 5 minutes, then you're done. You're good. Okay. So that's thing one. And thing two, I'm going to ask you to do for today. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do, again, is not going to take you very long. What I'm going to ask you to do is to go back into your sample works study that you had before. Okay, you should have it returned to you. And what you're going to do is you're going to just put in one in-text citation for each source at the bottom. All right, so I'll walk you through for mine, and I'll show you what you're going to do. Right, so the top one, again, would just be the author's last name. Then I'll just put in a page number. Right, I don't know what the page number is, but that's it. Okay. For this one does not have an author. All right, so what I'm going to do for this is a little different. Right, what I'm going to do is it's always going to be the first thing. It's never going to be it's never going to be like the name of the book if I have the author. It's never going to be the publisher. It's never going to be the date of publication. It's never going to be the URL. It's never going to be any of that stuff. It's always either going to be the name of the author or the title of the article or book, whichever comes first, meaning all the way to the left. Okay. So for this one, it would be this. Oops, I don't know why I did that. Disinfecting wipes. And it has to be in quotation marks, because if I look up here, this is in quotation marks. If for some reason it was a book and it didn't have an author, it would be italicized, because this would be italicized, that would be italicized. I can't think of a case when you would see that. Okay, but there might be one case I'm not thinking of. This one right here has two authors. Okay, so in this one, it's going to be Snowden, because I'm going to do the one that comes first. And then I'm going to do and then I'm going to do the last name of the second person. And then let's say there's a page number, I'll say 74. And I'm just making up these page numbers. All right, so don't think you have to go find your book. Just make up a page number. And that's it. Then I come here, the last one, this would be right and on, because that's the last name over here. And then it would be close parentheses. Now, you might be asking one question: why aren't there page numbers for this and this, for this one and this one? The reason why is because these are articles, right? These are articles that you're going to find online. What I mean by that is it's different than if you were to go online to, like, let's say a journal, right? Like a scientific journal. And you were to get access to it where you can read it as it appeared in print. So you could see like a PDF of the entire thing or a PDF of this section. And this article started on page 42 and it ended on page 49, right? Because you can see the PDF of the original thing. That's a page number. That's totally fine, right? That sometimes online sources have page numbers. But if you just go online and you go to Tap into Roxbury, you go to CNN, you go to New York Times, right? Any website you go to, it's not going to actually be a page, right? If you go to print it out, it'll say like page 1 of 3, but that's not really a page, right? The idea is that if somebody goes on there and they look up that book and they go to that page, they can find it, right? With online sources, with online articles, you can't do that. You can't guarantee because they could have a different font size. They could have, it could have changed, and maybe that quote isn't on that page anymore. Maybe it got updated or something. Okay, so if you have online sources, like for me, like this one and like this one, you don't have a page number, all right? Just either the author's name or the title of the article, or like, a few words from the beginning, right? The other one thing that sometimes people do on this is, for some reason, they might do like causing major pipe problems. Always start at the beginning, right? Always do either the first word or the first couple words, whatever seems to make the most sense. So for the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is just this. That's all you have to do. Okay. Now, if you're having trouble, like if you have something that's different, right? Most of these are going to be easy. Maybe you have two authors with the same last name, right? There's a book by R. Martin and G. Martin, right? So this will show you how to do that, right? You just put the person's first initial there in front of their name, and that's it. Multiple authors, right? I showed you how to do this. If there's more than three or more, I apologize, 3 or more, then it would be the first author's name is listed, ET space AL, which means and others, right? And let's see. Those are pretty much the ones that you would see, right? Most of the time it's going to be multiple authors, or people. One of the ones is like an author that has the same. Where is it? Two sources for the same book, or same author and then multiple sources. Sorry. There we go. Multiple works by the same author. Okay. You can do one of two things, right? The easiest way is to put their name in there, and then in the in-text citation, you would have the article or the book there, right? So it'd be two articles, right? This is an article, this is an article. And then here would be, if you have the same book or two books by the same one, right? You can put their name here and you can put that. And then if you can't put the author's name in there, then what you would do is you would have the author's last name, comma, space, then either the title of the article or the title of the book. If it is an article, it'll be in quotation marks. If it is a book, it'll be italicized with no quotation marks, then a space, and then just the page number, if there is one. Okay. So I know some of these are a little tough. The good news is this whole exercise should not take you very long, right? Obviously the IXL, 20 minutes max. This should take you a few minutes, right? So if you have an issue, if you have a problem, just send me a quick email, show me what the source is, and I can help you, okay? And then just submit it and you'll be good, all right? So if you have any questions about this, please let me know, right? If you're having trouble with this, please let me know. I'm going to put this up. I'm recording this a day early, but it'll go up either Wednesday morning or Thursday morning. And I'll say I'm going to check it the next class day, right? So that would be Friday for the A-day classes and then Monday for the B-day classes. I'll be checking. I can give you feedback. If you haven't done any previous assignments, please do those, get those in. You need to do the works cited assignment to be able to do this one. So please make sure you do that. Like I said, you still have a little time to do it. You can still get credit if you do it now, if you haven't done the works cited assignment. Okay. So yeah, let me know if you have any problems. I'm going to put a link to that EasyBib thing that I showed you in here that gives you like the extra examples. Like if you have a weird case or something, or a case that's unusual, I'm going to put the link into the post that's going to go with this video. Okay. As always, like I said, if you have any questions, if you have any issues, please let me know. Please ask for help. I will help you. I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope you're doing well. If you need just, to talk outside of like school stuff, let me know. I can make myself available if that's helpful. But I hope everything's going well. I hope you're doing fine, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.